The Galactic Council was in session. Thousands of alien species filled the great chamber. Some floated, some crawled. Others stood tall and proud with glowing armor and ancient banners. All of them leaders of mighty civilizations were watching. One thing, a message from a small blue planet called Earth. On the large center screen, a human ambassador appeared. He wore a simple black suit, no armor, no glowing marks, no throne behind him. Just a man from a planet most had never bothered. To Map, he spoke calmly. We greet you in peace. You're a humanity of Earth. We seek contact and friendship. Silence, and then dash laughter. Not the kind of laughter shared by friends. No, this was cruel. Loud, filled with pride and power. A massive alien, shaped like a walking mountain of steel, growled. They still burned fuel to launch ships. They even reached deep space. A glowing-eyed creature from the Zellian Empire hissed, primitive apes, weak, slow, late to everything. And finally, a tall and thin being, golden skin shining under the council lights, stood and raised a long finger. They call themselves humanity, but they bring nothing. No shields, no war fleets, no hypergates, just a voice. Do they think words will protect them in this galaxy? The chamber echoed with more laughter, but not all laughed at the back of the chamber. An old creature with sunken black eyes leaned forward. She had lived for thousands of years. She had seen stars die, and when she heard the human's voice, she didn't laugh. She whispered instead, I've heard that tone before. Long ago, meanwhile, on Earth, the message was received. Humans saw the laughter, the mocking, disrespect. Some were angry. Some wanted revenge. But Earth's leaders didn't respond. They didn't threaten. They didn't argue. They simply went quiet, very quiet, deep under the surface of Earth. In a long-forgotten vault built into a mountain range, red lights flickered. The vault had no name. No scientist alive had ever opened it. Not even Earth's leaders truly understood what was inside. Only a few dusty files from ancient history mentioned it. Under one name, Project Stonefire, inside the vault. Machines began to wake. Massive doors creaked open. Not with energy beams, but with old metal grinding against rock. A signal pulsed from the vault. Not a message, a command. Awaken. Across the solar system, strange things began to happen. On Jupiter's moon, Callisto, a research team vanished. No signs, no signals. Just silence. On Mars, an underground radar station picked up something. Moving under the crust. It was big. Too big an intern monitoring the radar screen stared at the readings. It's not drilling, he said slowly. It's rising. Back in the Galactic Council, a board officer from the Thalrex Empire received a report. Unusual activity near Earth system, the AI read. The officer yawned. Ignore it. Probably more monkey games. He sent a simple message to Earth's moon. Submit your system or be silenced. He didn't expect a reply, and he didn't get one. Instead, as an old satellite orbiting Earth blinked for the first time in 3,000 years, and from the far side of the moon, something massive began to move. It was not made of clean steel or glowing crystals like galactic ships. It was made of black stone, jagged metal, bones woven into armor. It didn't fly with grace. It rumbled. It looked like a beast of forgotten god. It's forged in the fires of ancient war. No engines, no shields, no communication systems, but it was alive. Alien sensors tried to scan it. They failed. It was too old, too strange, too wrong. One terrified pilot watching from deep space gasped, "That's not a ship. It's a creature wearing armor." And it was just the first dot on Earth. One of the last people with access to old military codes sat alone in a dark room. She wore a plain uniform, no medals, just a single patch on her shoulder, a flame inside stone. Her screen flashed. Stonefire. Unit 1, active. Unit 2, active. Unit 3, awaiting command. She pressed a button. Her voice was quiet. Send message to all major powers. Earth acknowledges your laughter, but you will not laugh again. Back at the Galactic Council, the ambassador who mocked Earth first received a new signal. He played it on his private screen. The footage showed a shadow passing over Saturn. It was blocking sunlight, and then just one line of Earth text appeared. We are not what you think. You forgot what sleeps beneath the stone. The ambassador's hands trembled. The mocking smile vanished. He reached for his communicator. Council, he said with fear in his voice. They were never primitive. Far beneath Jupiter's frozen moon, deep inside the ice and stone, a single red light blinked. A voice spoke in a forgotten language. Wakey, wakey. And something very, very old opened its eyes. Jupiter's moon Callisto had long been used by humans as a quiet research outpost. The galaxy thought Earth was weak, but they had no idea what humans had been digging for. Years ago, Earth found strange readings under Callisto. Metal that didn't match any known element. Structures too perfect to be natural. Scientists thought it was just old alien junk. They were wrong. It was not junk. It was not alien. It was something buried long ago by humans themselves. Back on Earth, the military was silent. They had activated Project Stonefire. Even they didn't fully understand what had been awakened. Ancient vaults hidden across the solar system began to open. One by one, on Mars. Cave system crumbled, revealing a massive metal claw. On the dark side of the moon, a mountain cracked in half, and from the dust, something shaped like a beast stood tall. Covered in black armor, in low Earth orbit, old satellites suddenly turned on and locked their signals onto the moon of Calest. All signals pointed to one word: unleash. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council was still laughing, at least most of them. They thought Earth was just making noise, but a few watchers, deep scan analysts, and war historians noticed the silence coming from Earth, and silence they knew was not peace. It was preparation. A Thalrex scout ship entered the Sol system. Its mission: observe and intimidate. The ship was fast, armed and shielded. Its commander, Captain Richtel, was known as the Sun Cutter. He had destroyed planets before. This will be easy, he said. Send a warning shot toward Earth's moon. Let's see them run. His gunner aimed, charged, fired. The shot never landed, because something intercepted it, mid-space something. Massive and dark, shaped like a flying fortress. It had no energy shield, no sleek design. It didn't shimmer with tech. It was a monster made of stone and metal. It had massive claws on its sides, engines that growled instead of hummed, and eyes that glowed deep red. Captain Richtel screamed. What is that? Sensors returned only one result. Data found. Data found. Too late. The giant warship marked with the words. Bonefire Unit 1 charged forward, without firing a single shot. It didn't dodge. It didn't hesitate. It simply crashed into the Thalrex scout ship and tore it apart. Earth received the footage. People watched in awe as a ship older than history turned one of the galaxy's best war machines into dust. Humanity did not cheer. They didn't post it online. They simply watched. The message was clear. This wasn't revenge. This was a return at a hidden facility under Antarctica. A quiet woman named Dr. Mara Vale was reading old files thousands of years old. She was one of the few people who knew the truth. Project Stonefire wasn't new. It was rediscovered. Whispered to her assistant, these ships weren't made by aliens. They were made by us. A long time ago. Before the fall. Her assistant frowned. Before what fall? Mara didn't answer. She simply opened a hologram showing 12 ancient warships, chief, buried in different places across the system. Only 2 had awakened. 10 more remained, sleeping far across the stars, in a dark war room within the Galactic Council. Alarms began to ring. Fleet commanders watched the last broadcast from Captain Richtel. The footage ended with a single flash and silence. One general stood and said, "Send a message to Earth. Demand they explain." Another shook his head. They already answered. What do you mean? The general played Earth's reply. A video with no voice, no face, Just one phrase burned into the stars. We remember the fire. Back on Jupiter's moon, deep under the ice, another warship began to rise. This one was twice as large, covered in bone-like armor. Its engines pulsed like a heartbeat. It didn't fly, climbed into space. And when it reached orbit, it let out a single sound, not a radio signal, but a roar, the kind of sound that shakes bones. Even across the vacuum of space, aliens across nearby systems looked up. Their skies were calm, their sensors quiet, but their instincts screamed. Something ancient had returned, something that never should have awakened, an Earth. Earth stayed quiet, no speeches, no attacks, no claims of power, only silence. And in that silence, across every corner of the galaxy, fear began to grow. Because if these warships were truly Earth's, then maybe Earth wasn't as young and weak as they thought. Maybe Earth wasn't new to the galaxy. Maybe Earth was something far, far worse. High above Earth, the stars were quiet. A Thalrex battlecruiser floated in orbit, massive, armed, proud. Its weapons were charged, its crew ready. The commander smirked. "Primitive humans," he growled. "We'll burn their sky." And then every light on the ship went dark. The Thalrex. Empire had finally lost its patience. They had watched Earth ignore warnings, destroy a scout ship, and awaken massive, ancient war machines. The Council had demanded answers. Earth gave none so. The Thalrex sent the Gralian, cruiser built to destroy entire cities from orbit. No one had ever stood against it, until now. Commander Jor, leader of the Gralian, looked down at Earth through the ship's viewing bay. He saw oceans, clouds, green lands, and no defenses. Not even planetary shields, he laughed. A ripe fruit, ready for plucking. He raised his hand. Charge. Main weapon. Target their largest city. His crew obeyed, but as the weapon began to charge, alarms sounded. "Commander." "What?" One shouted. "Something just appeared off our port side." "What is it? That another human satellite?" "No, sir. It's a ship. A huge one." Commander Jor looked at the screen, and his smile disappeared. The thing outside was not human, and yet it looked like a nightmare built from black stone. Massive claws, armor shaped like bone. A single red eye in the center of its hull. It moved like it had weight. Like it didn't care about space or speed. It didn't. Shimmer. It didn't glow. It loomed. The system labeled it unknown, threat level, undefined. The crew panicked. "Do we fire?" asked the gunner. Jor hesitated. Then the warship moved. No. Lights. No warning. It just launched forward without engines and slammed into the Gralian's shield like a comet. The ship shook. Alarm screamed. The shield failed instantly. "It didn't shoot us," a technician whispered. It hit us. Like a beast. Like a predator. Outside, Earth's ancient warship drifted back, claws unfolding. Then it released something from its belly. Sharp metal spikes, glowing with deep red light. Not missiles, not bombs' teeth. They tore through the Thalrex. Hull rooms collapsed, pressure failed. Crew screamed. Commander Jor shouted orders. But it was too late. The alien warship did not wait. It grabbed the Gralian with long black tendrils and began pulling it apart piece by piece, like it was feeding. On Earth, satellites captured the entire battle. Military leaders watched in silence. The warship had no name in their database. But on its side, one word was engraved in stone. Bonefire, Unit 2. The Gralian sent out a final distress call across the galaxy. Other powers watched it die in just 5 minutes. One of the Thalrex Empire's greatest ships had been destroyed. Without a single energy shot from Earth, no one understood how. No one wanted to. Aboard a hidden human base orbiting Saturn. A small team of scientists monitored everything. One young technician stared at the data. His eyes were wide. "This ship," he said, "it doesn't run on normal power. It uses something else, like alien tech," asked his partner. He shook his head. "No, it's not alien. It's something we used to know, something we lost. At the back of the room, Dr. Mara Vale was quiet. She looked at an old book one passed down from her grandfather. A book banned by Earth's early governments. It had strange drawings of creatures, ships, bones, and metal. It was titled The Fire Before Time, and on one page was a perfect image of Bonefire Unit 2. In the Galactic Council, panic began to spread. The Thalrex demanded immediate war. Other species hesitated. They didn't invade, said one diplomat. They only destroyed a ship that attacked them first. A quiet voice replied. They destroyed that ship like it was made of paper. Another asked, what if Earth isn't rising? What if Earth is remembering? In a dark chamber far from the main council, an old being, neither machine nor flesh, played the footage again. The human warship, the destruction, the silence afterward. He tapped his long fingers against a stone table. Then he whispered, I warned them not to dig. Too deep. And now the giants walk again. Back on Earth, the warship Bonefire Unit 2 slowly descended toward the Pacific Ocean. It didn't land. It sank, vanished beneath the waves like it had come home. People on the surface saw nothing, only a strange wave and a distant sound like thunder underwater, and then silence again. The world waited for a message, something from Earth's leaders, a threat, a warning. Instead, a single message appeared on the Galactic Council's secure channel. We did not ask for war, but we will end it. Just those 10 words, simple, calm, cold, and across the stars, fear began to spread, not because Earth attacked, because Earth didn't need to. The galaxy finally realized this was not humanity's first war, it might just be their return. A mining ship from the Zellery Syndicate entered an asteroid field near the edge of Earth's solar system. They were searching for rare metals. They didn't find metal. They found a graveyard. And then they stopped responding. The asteroid field was old, cold, and silent. Just floating rocks between Mars and Jupiter, but deep inside it was something else. The Zellery miners called it the Hollow Zone. The rocks there were too smooth, even had strange markings, lines, carvings, patterns that looked like writing. Then their scanners picked up a structure, a perfect circle, 40 kilometers wide, buried inside an asteroid. It wasn't natural. It wasn't broken. It was waiting. The mining ship sent a drone inside. The drone disappeared in seconds. The feed cut out. No explosion, no crash, just static. And then a signal came back. Not from the drone, from something older. The signal wasn't a message. It was a wake-up call. Across the field, dozens of asteroids began to move. It's not drift. Move. One opened like a flower made of stone and metal. Inside was a shape, round, armored, covered in black plating. Its body was covered in red runes, glowing slowly. It looked like a ship, but it felt alive back on Earth, deep under the Atlantic Ocean. Secure bunker picked up the signal. An alert appeared on every human military system. Stonefire. Graveyard protocol. Triggered. Dr. Mara Vale saw the words flash across her screen. Her heart skipped. She turned to her team. They found the graveyard. What does that mean? Someone asked. She stared at the screen. It means we didn't bury just warships. We buried something worse. The Galactic Council noticed the missing mining ship. The Zellery demanded action, so the Council sent a scouting fleet, 50 ships, fast and armed. Their mission was simple: enter the asteroid field, find the miners, and report back. They entered. 10 minutes later, they sent a message. The captain's face appeared on screen, pale, sweating, eyes wide. It's not a minefield. It's not an ambush. It's a tomb. And it's waking up. Then the feed went black dot from outside the field. A lone Zellian probe recorded what happened next. Dozens of stone-covered war machines activated. Each was different in shape, but all had the same look. Ancient, hostile, and angry. They didn't use energy weapons. They didn't send warnings. They launched directly through the scouting fleet. The ships were shredded, ripped, pulled apart by claws and tendrils. One ship tried to escape. A dark shape followed. It opened its hull and released hundreds of bone-colored darts, each one sharp, fast, and silent. The fleeing ship didn't even explode. It simply came apart. Piece by piece, Earth's leaders watched the footage. They didn't panic. They nodded. One general turned to Dr. Mara and asked, "How many are in the graveyard?" She answered without looking up. 12, maybe more. And they don't need us to command them. They remember war on their own. The council called an emergency session. Panic filled the chamber. Some wanted to blame Earth. Some wanted to destroy the graveyard. Others were too afraid to speak. A calm voice echoed across the chamber. "What kind of species builds ships? Then hides them in stone?" Another added. "They didn't build these recently. These ships are older than our oldest archives." Finally, the council's historian stood. He held a glowing scroll. "I found a match," he said. He opened the scroll. Inside was a sketch drawn over 30,000 years ago by a long-lost race. It showed a ship made of bone with a red eye, the same ship seen in the asteroid field. The historian's hands shook. These aren't warships. They're relics of humanity's first war. Back in the asteroid field, the warships went still, again, floating, watching, waiting, but they didn't return to sleep. They stayed awake. Some began to move toward Earth's orbit. They didn't broadcast any signals. They didn't answer hails. They simply moved, like guard dogs returning to their master. On Earth. Dr. Mara sat in her private lab. She placed a small stone on the table recovered from the oldest ruins on Earth. She pressed her hand on it. It lit up, not with technology, but with recognition. The stone glowed red dot, and across the asteroid field, one of the ancient warships turned and sent back a pulse. "The same red glow," her assistant whispered. "They're connected to us," Mara replied. "No, they're not connected to us. We're connected to them." Meanwhile, in a distant corner of the galaxy, far from Earth, a hidden AI archive opened for the first time in thousands of years. It showed a map, a line of systems, and one label burned into the screen: Earth's origin of the Forgotten Ones. Galaxy thought humans were new, but the stars remembered the truth, and now, so did Earth. 1,000,000 ships. That was the size of the galactic armada now facing Earth. Battle cruisers, siege frigates, planet crackers. Every major empire had sent their finest. The galaxy had one goal: burn Earth before the monsters wake fully. But the monsters were already awake. The council was done waiting. Earth had ignored warnings, destroyed fleets, and awakened ships the galaxy couldn't explain. No one trusted humanity anymore, so the council agreed on one plan: total show of force. They called it the Unity Fleet. But everyone knew its real name: Earthbreaker. The fleet arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system. It was the largest armada assembled in modern galactic history. Its commanders laughed. They have no proper defense network, no deep space guns, no planetary shields. They've only got rocks and ancient bones. They gave Earth one final message: surrender, or be removed from existence. No reply came, only silence. Then the Earth's sky changed from behind the moon. 5 objects began to rise. They weren't fast, they weren't pretty, they were terrifying. Each was a giant. Warships, some shaped like beasts, others like tombs with engines. All of them were covered in black stone, bone plating and glowing red cores. They had no visible weapons, and yet they radiated pure danger. The Unity Fleet scanned them. The results came back blank. No data, unknown tech, no energy readings. One admiral laughed nervously. "They're just big old machines. Slow targets." The 5 ancient warships began to move. They didn't charge. They simply drifted forward. Slow and steady, the Unity Fleet opened fire. Thousands of missiles, beams, plasma bolts, all aimed at the 5 warships. A direct hit, smoke, explosions, and then the smoke cleared. The warships were still there, untouched, unmoved, unbroken. Inside one command ship, a Zelian warlord screamed, "Impossible. Our weapons vaporize moons." And yet on Earth's side, the warships didn't fire a single laser. Instead, a central ship marked Stonefire Unit 5 opened its front hull. Inside was a black sphere, spinning slowly. Suddenly, the sphere cracked. Open, it didn't fire a weapon. It pulled. Gravity twisted. Dozens of enemy ships were yanked out of position, dragged into each other, and crushed like paper. Another ancient ship spread its wings, massive stone panels that glowed with runes. It didn't launch missiles. It simply let out a deep pulse, not a sound. A shockwave, and where the wave passed enemy ships, shut down. Dead in space. Drifting, the warships were not fighting like machines. They were fighting like predators, and the Unity fleet. It was being hunted. Earth's leaders watched the battle from orbit. General Kai, commander of Earth's defense, whispered, "They're not using our tech. They're using instincts." Dr. Mara Vale stood beside him. Her voice was cold. They were made during Earth's first rise. It's built not to win wars, but to end them. Within 30 minutes, Unity fleet was down by 40%. Panic spread. Some ships retreated. Some begged for mercy. One brave alien captain tried to send a peace signal to the human fleet. He was answered by silence, and by his ship being gutted. In a single strike, there would be no surrender. Not now, not after they threatened Earth. Back in the Galactic Council, chaos erupted. Call them off. Open talks. Why didn't we listen earlier? But it was too late. The trial by fire had begun, and Earth had passed. On Earth, civilians watched from cities and space stations. They didn't celebrate. They didn't cheer. They watched with wide eyes and silent mouths. Because now, they understood something. These ancient warships weren't built by Earth's current governments. They weren't built by modern science. They were left behind by something older, and worse, there were more of them. The remaining Unity fleet scattered, only 20%, made it out alive. They didn't look back. They didn't speak, because deep down, every species in the galaxy now understood. Earth isn't rising. It's waking up. In the ruins of the battle, the 5 warships returned to Earth orbit. They didn't dock. They didn't rest. They just waited like statues of war, watching the stars, guarding their planet, waiting for the next fool to attack. That night, Earth sent a final message broadcast across every galactic frequency. No face. No flag, just a single slow voice. You feared our technology. You mocked our age. But you forgot something important. We didn't build these warships to conquer. We built them to remind the stars. We are not your children. We are your ancestors. Inside one of Earth's ancient warships, a group of engineers made a shocking discovery. No buttons, no screens, only a large metal panel with glowing lines. In a small place to insert blood. After the Unity fleet's defeat, Earth didn't speak again. The galaxy had gone silent. No one dared approach. The 5 awakened warships floated in Earth's orbit like giant beasts on watch, and beneath the surface of Mars, Earth's scientists continued studying one of the ships, Stonefire Unit 3, also called the Hallowed. But nothing made sense. No wiring, no circuits. It wasn't built like any known machine. One engineer touched a glowing symbol on the wall, and the room responded with a heartbeat, a slow, deep thump that echoed through metal. This ship isn't just powered. It's alive. Dr. Mara Vale arrived on Mars with a team of linguists and bio-dash specialists. She examined the ship's core. There was a sealed chamber, and inside, a chair not made for any alien species. It was human-sized, built from stone and bone-like metal, and in front of a tan, ancient control plate, marked with 3 symbols: fire, blood. Code-stoled, her voice dropped to a whisper. It's not a control system. It's a key. She ordered a DNA test. The results were shocking. The chair responded only to early human DNA, not modern humans, but genetic markers from 30,000 years ago, a time when no cities existed, when humans hunted. With stone and fire, the scientists were confused. But how can this be? Who built these warships? Mara held up a dusty notebook, her grandfather's journal. Inside were old myths, cave markings, and symbols passed down for generations. Stories of sky beasts, starfires, and a war so massive that it erased itself. From history, she whispered, maybe we didn't evolve after space travel. Maybe we survived it. Far across the stars, in a hidden library orbiting a dead star, a forbidden record was unlocked. An old AI whispered. Ancient Earth code matched. Origin confirmed. The precursor race has returned. And then the file labeled humanity. Class 0 civilization changed to Class Alpha, do not engage. Back on Mars. One of the engineers grew impatient. He cut his finger and touched the control panel inside the ship. It lit up slowly. Symbols moved. A hum filled the room. The walls began to shift, and a deep voice echoed not in sound, but directly. In their minds, authority matched. Genetic link accepted. Stonefire code recognized. Waiting command. The engineer stepped back in fear. What did I just do? He asked. Dr. Mara didn't answer, because in orbit, the other warships began to move, not to attack, but to respond. They were listening. Suddenly, a map appeared in the ship's center. It showed the galaxy, but the names were unfamiliar. Thousands of stars marked in red. Dozens of them. Already gone, burned out, destroyed, and at the center of the map, one word. It's written in ancient Earth language. Ashen Reach. A voice played. One final line. Touch the code. Remember the fire. The war never ended. Back on Earth, the world's leaders gathered in silence. They had seen the transmission. The Ashen Reach was a system not recorded in modern maps, but old satellite files. Showed strange readings from that area. Thousands of years ago. Something was buried there, something big. General Kai looked at Dr. Mara. Do we send a team? Mara shook her head. No, we send a memory. The next day, Earth launched one of the ancient ships Stonefire Unit 6, known only as the Remnant. Wasn't piloted. It didn't need to be. The ship flew on its own, like it knew where to go, and the moment it entered deep space, signal echoed across the stars. A message only a few could understand. It simply said, the code is broken, the ancestors awaken.
Oh.
The Galactic Council saw the signal. Some thought Earth had declared war again. Others knew better. One quiet diplomat, an old creature with pale skin and many eyes, whispered to the council, they are not coming for us. They're going to finish something we started, and failed to. Stop. Back in orbit, the warships around Earth changed formation. They weren't guarding anymore. They were aligning, preparing for what? No one knew, but the galaxy now understood something terrifying. Earth didn't just find old warships. They found a history that refused to die, and far away, beyond mapped space. Something ancient opened its eye. It had waited long enough, and now that the code was touched, it remembered everything. The stars trembled. One of Earth's ancient ships had entered dead space, and something was waiting there. The ship known as the Remnant moved without sound. No engines burned, no signal blinked. It simply drifted fast, badly, and with purpose toward a part of the galaxy long forgotten by most civilizations. A place once known in ancient human records as Ashen Reach, but in Unity records. It had a different name. Zone Black. Extermination site. Unity spies were watching. They sent a message to the Council. The primitive species is returning to the lost sector. The Council panicked. They still remembered what had happened. In Ashen Reach long ago, a war no one spoke of. a weapon no one could control, and now, species once erased from records, was headed back to it. We must stop the remnant before it reaches the zone, or risk waking something even worse. But it was already too late. The remnant arrived. It stopped above a dead red star, surrounded by black debris. No light, no planets, no life. And then the ship's hull split open. From its core, a beam of red fire shot into the star. Not to destroy it, but to unlock it. The star shook, and something massive rose from behind it. It was a station so old, even the remnant paused. Built like bones and obsidian, it rotated with slow, terrifying grace. Markings on its side matched the symbols found on the warships, and then a voice filled the ship. But not just the ship, it echoed into Earth. The Council, and across every open frequency in the galaxy, code recognized. War protocol re-engaged. Cycle 777 begins. Fire in the void. Let the judgment return. Back on Earth? The skies turned red for a moment. Only those with old blood felt it. A hum in their veins. A memory not from their own minds. People screamed. Some dropped to their knees. Some remembered battles they'd never fought. The war. We never won it. Dr. Mara stood in shock. The warships around Earth lit up. Their lights pulsed in rhythm. They were sent. To what? She whispered. To the past. In the Unity core world, panic turned into chaos. Admiral Leth, the same who mocked Earth weeks ago, now ordered full fleet activation. No one enters the Ashen Reach. Shoot the human ship on sight. But when their armada approached, they saw it. The station had opened, and from inside it, 5 more ships emerged, larger than anything in modern fleets, black stone, silent engines, and carved on their fronts. Precursor class, Wrath. The Unity. Ships opened fire, their missiles and beams hit the Wrath ships, and simply vanished. No explosion, no sound, just gone, and then the Wrath. Fleet responded not with weapons. With sound, a blast of deep, ancient frequency washed over the battlefield. Unity ships shut down. Pilots screamed. Some ships even turned on each other. The remnant finally moved again. It spoke for the first time. You were warned long ago. You erased the records, but the code remembers. Back on Earth, Dr. Mara was joined by elders keepers of oral stories. One old man showed her a stone pendant with symbols matching the Wrath fleet. We were always protectors, not invaders. But the stars feared what they couldn't control. General Kai asked, "What now?" The elder simply said, "We don't bring war, we bring balance. But first the fire must burn away the rot." In the galactic edges, smaller civilizations watched in silence. They had heard the old stories. The precursor flame, the forgotten ones, they now knew. Humanity was not primitive. They were punished. Now they had returned. The Wrath ships flew past. The disabled Unity fleet. They didn't attack. They didn't need to. They left one message on all screens. You feared the fire, but you should have feared the return. And as Earth's 5 main warships activated fully, the final warning was clear. The void had been silent. But now the fire speaks again. The galaxy held its breath. Humanity's forgotten warships had returned. The stars themselves whispered, "This is the end of the Age of Lies." In the center of the galaxy, the Unity Council prepared its last stand. Thousands of ships gathered. Every species that had once ruled now stood behind one command. They sent a message across the stars. To all worlds, join us. Humanity has awakened. Its ancient power, they must be stopped, or none of us will survive. But there was no answer, only silence. And then one response, "You should have listened," when Earth was still whispering. The Wrath fleet moved through space like ghosts made of stone and flame. Each ship pulsed with deep, red energy older than stars. They weren't powered by fuel. They were powered by memory, by vengeance, and by justice. The Council's fleets launched their first wave. Millions of missiles and beams filled the black sky. the wrath. Ships didn't dodge. They let the weapons strike, and then they walked through the fire. Back on Earth. Dr. Mara stood in the control room of the last reawakened ship, the Ember Ark. The crew around her were calm, focused. These weren't just scientists or soldiers, they were inheritors. The warships responded. Not to command codes, but to intent. This isn't a battle for planets, she said. It's a war for truth. And as Earth's warships entered the final system, the stars seemed to dim the unity. Armada formed a ring formation, Wall-2 wall ships. The Council sent one last message: surrender. Return to Earth, we will erase what you found. General. Kai answered with a whisper, we are the echo of everything you tried to kill. And then the Wrath ships stopped. They didn't fire. Instead, they sent one final signal, a memory, to every ship, to every mind. The truth unfolded. Thousands of years ago, Earth had risen too fast. They had built ships powered by genetic memory. And harmony, not violence, but unity feared them. So they turned all other species against them. Earth was bombed, cut off, and erased from records. The ancient ships were buried in orbit. Humanity forgot until now. Pilots across the galaxy dropped their weapons. They saw the lies, the manipulation, and they saw Earth not as a threat, but as the first victim. Unity leaders screamed orders, but many fleets turned and fled. Some joined Earth. Council's power shattered in one final desperate move. Unity activated its Doom Anjuna, planet-sized weapon hidden in the core system. It began to charge. Too late, the Ember Ark arrived. It sang. A low sound filled the void. The Wrath ships answered. They formed a circle and unleashed the fire. They had held for centuries. There was no explosion, no chaos, just light, pure, red gold light. And when it faded, the Doom engine was gone, and so was unity, command. All that remained was silence and a new sky. Dr. Mara stepped outside her ship. The stars felt clearer, brighter. The Wrath ships slowly returned to orbit. They were no longer weapons. They had fulfilled their purpose. Earth's message spread to every corner of the galaxy. We do not seek to rule. We seek to rebuild. With truth, with peace, with fire only when needed. In far corners of space, broken civilizations reached out, not in fear, but in hope. Earth answered one by one. The stars began to heal, and the galaxy would forever remember. They thought humanity was primitive, but we were just waiting for the right time to rise. The end.